Hello from ChiNation.com. This is Mark Josie. Welcome to this video. We're going to talk about the details and a little bit of technical stuff about how to tune the Tiberius T15 to a less lethal marker, which shoots around 20 to 22 joules. And this is actually the highest I can get so far with this gun. I can't really do more to get it harder shooting, but it works. So at this kind of power, you can be pretty assured that you will be able to knock someone down. it's very deadly already, but yeah, it's not the hardest hitting Tiberius marker, I would say. For the Tiberius guns, T8.1, T9.1, T4.1, they are the best marker for power. You can get it up to 30 joules or so, but this one, 20 joules, 22 joules max, pretty good already. Okay, so you can see I can show you around first. Okay, in another video I already showed you the difference in appearance. So we talk about the tank here that is secured with a guide rod, rubber grip. You can have mags, and also you can couple up the mags with airsoft M4 couplers and for mags. Mag post link mount, red dot sight, iron flip up sight that is cold witnessing with the red dot. Okay, a lot of rail covers. We got a laser and such. Okay, so let's get into how you can tune this gun into high power. A few things very critical. The stock barrel needs to go. The stock barrel doesn't work. Okay, so let's take out the mag first and we'll get into the gun. First thing first, the tank, Ninja Paintball tank, HPA, but you will need one with a gold regulator. Okay. These gold regulators, you can choose the output pressure. The optimal right now is 1,200 psi output, and you will need that. This one is a twist dial on-off. You will need that on-off as well, because you don't want to like really take off the stock and then screw in the tank every time you want to use the gun. So with this thing on, your tank is always on the gun. Always. It will not go off anymore. Okay, when you want to fill the tank, what you do is you just take the whole gun and then plug this to the hose and refill your tank. You don't need to take the tank off. And then when you need to use the gun, all you need to do is twist this neck here, twist it over to that side, and the gun is gassed up and ready to shoot. When you don't, when you're putting this away, you screw the thing over that side, okay, and now your gun is degassed and not pressurized. So this makes the gun much more tactical and ready to fire, ready to use all the time. Rubber grip, optional. It's not about the power, but more important about the power is your barrel. Okay, now let's take this barrel out. Okay, let's take the barrel out. Ooh, there we go. First of all, the stock barrels need to go. The stock barrel cannot give high power. You need this Lab-Cro 0.687 14-inch barrel with a whatever tip you like. Okay, I put the tip of the stock barrel back on here, I believe. Yeah, I think so. Okay, I just put the tip back on, but there's no tip from the stock from this barrel, so I just put that tip back on. This is the A5X7 thread adapter for the T15. You can buy this from Rockstar Tactical. What it is just an adapter, and you screw it onto your A5 barrel. And this is actually a Lab-Cro barrel made for A5. So you get this on, and also I put a little bit loose. You see this O-ring right here is a little bit loose. It's not a tight fit. What it does is it tightens your barrel inside. Not sure if you can see it. Right here, this hole. Okay, it tightens the barrel there and not let the barrel wobbles around. Okay, so let's put the barrel back on. So this is the barrel you need. Okay. Now after putting it back on, you will need to use a screwdriver to push that O-ring back. Okay. I'm not going to do that right here. I'm going to do it off camera later. But yeah, So you need that barrel. You need this. And then now let's talk about the settings inside. So push this pin out. Make sure your gun is not cocked. Okay. Push the pin out. There we go. Now here you can see, we talked about this in another video already, but I have to repeat. This block right here, this block is where you screw the adjustment for the power screw and the recock screw. The power screw is the one that is connected to the bigger hole, and then the smaller hole is the recock screw. I would suggest you to start with almost fully opening the power screw, and the recock screw. My recock screw is almost fully closed, but you can try like with 75% closed. And use silicone grease to loop this O-ring right here. Okay, and then for the spring right here, for the spring, this is actually the stock spring. But what I did was you take out the buffer, and then right here you shim this part with some washers. It's best if you can find metal, but if you cannot, I use plastic washers. That works. Whatever works. Okay, some washers, something to pack it up, make the spring go tense, more tense, and then you put this back on. So what you're doing is you're trying to increase the tension of the spring so that it will punch the valve harder. And there's a point where you cannot shim anymore because you cannot cock the gun. So basically use that as a standard and keep tweaking. What I did was just like, you have to really trial and error. And sometimes like you shim too much and it cannot fire. So basically you need to really try to fiddle around yourself and see what works. And then when you come to a point where you can just barely, like really hard pull and cock the gun, that's where you want to stay. And then with that settings, you should be able to get it up to 20 to 22 joules. Mind you that, okay, it is very hard to tune because the two screws adjustment is very critical. The two screws right here, you need to really play around. There's a balance point where, like, it's not like, oh, the power screw, the bigger the better. The recock screw, the smaller the better. No, it's not like that. There's like a balance point where in the middle, that it balanced the two screws or the two hole to a best fitting combination. And then at that point, you will be able to get the best power. A little tips here is use some kind of projectile like the 3.9 grams rubber balls. Use these to chrono your gun and keep chronoing and keep a chart with these things. Okay, what I did was I used this 3.9 gram hard rubber balls to chrono. And then, so at first I was getting like 312 to 319 kind of FPS. And then when you tune a little bit more, it gets to the 320-ish. And then when you tune a little bit more, it gets to 312 and such again. And then when you tune it a little bit more, it gets to 330-ish. And then you're like, whoa. And then somehow you get to a point where you start to see a lot of 330-ish to 340-ish. You will be like, wow, that's good. And then you want to tune it up more. You start to get greedy. And then when you tune it higher, the power, okay, you tune the higher power, like the power screw, you tune it higher, it will decrease. So it's not like the more you tune up, the more power you get. Sometimes it's different. Like when you tune it up too much, it goes back down. So there's a little balance point there that you need to really play around. So in order to tune this gun to high power, you will need a chronograph, you will need a projectile that is reusable, and you will always be using those projectiles to measure in order to know what kind of power you're getting all the time. and then you need a lot of patience. So now you know all my tricks here, what I did inside and outside to get to high power. You can now start to fiddle around with your gun. As for the on-off and the tank, I have a little trick here, which is to use Teflon tape. It does work, okay? Somehow it's so weird, but it does work. I Teflon the neck of the threading part of the on-off and the tank. So it's like you really secure these three parts together almost permanently, like really tightly. So you're not going to unscrew the tank, you're not going to unscrew the on-off, so let's stick them there very tight, airtight. And somehow that gave me like 10 FPS higher. So weird, but it works. So basically this is how you can get high power with this gun. Projectile is also very critical. A few types of projectiles that works very well in high power is the Red Strike from RAV4, the reusable shape projectile, and this 3.9 gram hard rubber ball, which you can get from eBay right now. They're called the Wildlife Control rubber balls. Yeah, so these two work the best in this gun at 20 to 22 joules. Breaker balls, they will, at the same settings, these things will fire around 16 to 17 joules only. Weird, don't know why. Steel ball bearings, never use those, and do not use those in this kind of settings because they will not work well. They're too heavy. 3 grams PVC balls from RAV4, they're called plastic rounds in RAV4 site. They work. They will give about 18 joules at the same settings. So basically that's it, and this is how you do high power with the T15. If you got questions or you're tuning your T15 to high power for target shooting, whatever you want, okay, let me know. If you got questions, I'll be happy to give you some of my experience and tips. So thank you for watching. Remember to subscribe and like. Bye bye.